Hey, look who's on the line, everybody. It's longtime NBAer Danny Green, Odyssey NBA Insider. Insider calls are brought to you by the all-new Hyundai 2024 Santa Fe, equipped for adventure. Let's have an adventure with Danny Green. Hey, Danny, what's going on?
Not much, man. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. What do you make of this story that came out earlier today that Joe Lacob called Jeannie Buss and said, give us LeBron or else? What's up there?
It sounds funny. It sounds like an April Fool's joke, even though it's only February.
Yeah, I mean, but when something like this comes out, I mean, I got a bunch of questions. First of all, you played with him. What's realistic here? Do you think LeBron is open to finishing his career elsewhere?
I think if he gets the opportunity to play with Bronny, I think, yeah, for sure. I know he's trying to make it to Bronny, which, I mean, it's going to be tough. That's a lot of years. He's already got a lot of years under his belt. But to play with his son, I think he'll go anywhere. But I don't think and I also don't think he's opposed to playing with Steph. But I also don't see Lakers giving him up. And if they do, they're going to want the whole team. So, they're going to want Steph in that package. They're going to want Clay, Draymond. And I don't think that makes sense for either side.
Yeah, it's interesting. And LeBron right now sits alongside you and two others as the only players to ever win titles with three teams. Would he be motivated to be a guy to win a title in a fourth year, or is he just driven to win a title, period?
I think, a guy like him, his caliber and his competitive nature, he wants to win every year. I don't think it matters. He can win. If he can win six, he's going to try. He obviously arguably the best to ever do it, but we all know he's always going to be compared or below Mike to a lot of people because he doesn't have six. So if he can play 3 more years and win 7, he's going to do that wherever he's at. But I think his ultimate goal right now is to obviously win and with the Lakers, but he wants to play with Bronny.
Danny Green with us here on Willard and Dibs. Danny, take us behind the curtain if you would. I don't know how you'll answer this or even if you can, but I'm curious when a story comes out like this. The Warriors called the Lakers right before the trade deadline, and they wanted LeBron, and the Lakers said no, but they sent him to Clutch, and then Clutch said no, this whole thing. And now here we are a week later, and the story comes out. Why? Mm-hmm. Who wants that story out, and why?
I have no idea. I think there's a slow media day. There's a lot too much Valentine's going on, but I have no idea who would want that story or why it's out. It doesn't make any sense. But, some things come to light for no reason. Some secrets get shared. Today's world, nothing stays behind closed doors forever now with the internet. And everybody having stories and telling podcasts and, with changes in organizations where somebody may get fired, somebody might write a book. So, I mean, the story's going to get out eventually. It's just weird that it comes out now, 1 week after, which it doesn't matter. Either way, it didn't matter regardless if it came out before. I just didn't see it happening for either side. But, it's funny to me because I always wondered if GMs, called other teams just to see or mess with other teams if they would give up their franchise guy. Let me call Minnesota and see if they'll give up Anthony Edwards. Let me call and see if they give up Steph Curry. I just wondered if GMs ever did that and mess with other teams just to see. Let's see if I can get Joel Embiid. Let me see if I can get Nikola Jokic from Denver. I don't see it ever happening for any of these franchises, but I think they just, for the hell of it, just bored, and we'll see what the asking price is.
Yeah, but did you ever experience this, like maybe from the agent side? There's jockeying going on for the future. Maybe this comes from agents who want a narrative out or they want to send a message. Does that stuff happen?
Yeah, for sure. I could see certain things coming out from certain camps of putting pressure on certain teams, either putting pressure on for an extension or putting pressure on teams to win. Or, Joel is the king of trolling, and I think, not that he's necessarily done it recently but he will put certain things out there. Certain guys will put certain things out there to let them know. There's a possibility if you guys don't do what you're supposed to do. I'm sure Bron does too. He has random cryptic messages where it's like, all right, we need to make something happen or win now, or I could be gone, or I need an extension. Or I need to make certain, I need certain players around me, or I'm not happy. And if you don't keep me happy, things could change. So, some guys, some superstars have that power, and they do put the pressure on their organizations within, and of course within their group and their camp, from the outside, and having their camp, maybe leak something.
Yeah, and LeBron with his hourglass tweet from a couple of months ago talking about, TikTok, make my team better, and then the Lakers didn't go out and do that. LeBron with a player option in the offseason. Could you see him being the kind of guy who would maybe take a veteran minimum kind of contract just to pick his next destination? Or is he all about that paper?
I wouldn't say he's all about that paper, but he knows his worth. There's no case or any scenario where he's going to be worth the vet minimum. As much as his ticket sales and when he drives the organization, he's worth way more than that to any, or even at his worst. He would never. I don't think he would ever accept the vet minimum. Even
thinking about what Tom Brady did all those years in New England, where he sublimated his own salary to win championships, he wouldn't do that.
I could see him changing his salary, but the minimum is way different than changing his salary. Going from $40 million to $50 million or $60 million, like to get $50 million a year to 3 or 4, that doesn't make any sense. Now, he could go to maybe 20. He could maybe go to 20 million, something like that. But the minimum is a big drop.
We're talking with Danny Green here on Willard and Dibs. Insider calls are brought to you by the all-new Hyundai 2024 Santa Fe, equipped for adventure with capable features like available 8-track all-wheel drive and standard third-row seating. Danny, what's it like playing with LeBron? And by the way, if we're going to have fun with this, if LeBron and Steph played together, who's the alpha?
I think it would be Bron. He's his natural leader. He's a great guy, a lot of fun. But, he's a guy that Steph can play off the ball. And I'm not saying Bron can't, but I think he's better on the ball. And I see Bron be running the point guard and Steph coming off pin downs and Bron being aggressive in that nature. So I could see Bron, being the alpha in that sense. Obviously, you can see also, even on the team right now, Steph may be the alpha offensively, but when it comes to the group and the team, that energy, it's really Draymond. So I could see Bron, or Steph taking a passenger seat to Bron if he came over. But yeah, playing with LeBron was a lot of fun. So he's a big kid. You have a lot of fun off the court. He'll make the game easier for you. He understands the game, very high IQ, remembers things, knows how things goes. And, if he doesn't like something, he'll point it out and let you know and make the adjustments himself.
Would a pairing like that be enough to coax you back into sneakers? Or have you decided that you're just going to hang him up, Danny?
No, I have not decided. It's not going to take much to coax me back into sneakers. I only have a couple more years left, I think, at playing. And I'm going to try my best to try to get, a couple, if the league allows me to. I'm going to try my best to get back on the floor if I get an opportunity. I did have a decent opportunity in Philly earlier this year, which I thought went pretty well until the trade happened. But we'll see. If a team gives me another shot, man, I'm waiting. I'm here.
Danny, speaking of being traded, I wonder what it feels like. This is the other question I have about the rumor coming out. If the rumor comes out, there are certain Warriors, Andrew Wiggins, for example, and others, who now take that and go, "Oh, you were shopping me." How does that affect a guy?
It could change. It can affect most guys, but guys that are in certain situations, when you're playing for the Lakers and you're not winning, I'm sure you got to know that you're going to be in conversations of trades. When you're playing for the Warriors, another top team that is supposed to be making the playoffs, not only making the playoffs, but being a contender, you're not performing well. I couldn't see Wiggins being shocked that his name might be in trade talks. But it said it could affect certain guys. Like, I've seen certain reports of certain locker rooms being weird, and I guess Jalen Green in Houston, like, knowing his name was being shopped around, it made him feel the way he's a younger guy. But most of these other guys that are veterans, they know, they've been around it, they understand the business. D'Angelo Russell knows it. He's been traded a couple times. He understands the business, so he ain't taking it personally. But he played well. He balled out, and for good reason, they kept him.
Danny, as mentioned, you played for 3 different championship teams. What is it about a championship locker room, and at what point do you look around and realize that maybe you've got something special and maybe that group can actually win a chip?
You kind of know that before you even get in the locker room. You could tell by the roster and the makeup and what conference you're in. I knew before we got to Toronto we had a good group. I wasn't sure we would win the championship. I knew we had a contention. San Antonio, we've done it a couple of times. We had a really good group. We kept together for a while. In LA, the roster we put together was just a group like, all right, it's really special. And I think as the year goes along, you can find yourself seeing yourself being, last team standing at least about halfway through if you guys stay healthy. So you can kind of tell and notice that at some early on in the season, and even before that, you can kind of see where the standings are of your conference and what your roster looks like, up until that point. So, and who has what, and who you guys face, who can you beat, who's unstoppable. There was plenty of times that we knew that before the season even started, we had a group that can do something special in San Antonio, and in Toronto and LA as well.
Do you still see these Warriors as a title contender?
they have great pieces. If they could stay, I mean, if guys can get their confidence back, get in rhythm, it's kind of late right now. It's something you have to build throughout the season. I think they lost some good pieces that hurt them. I think they definitely a playoff team, but I don't any longer see them as a contender right now this year. But I do think with the pieces they have, they can figure it out and bounce back. And they have a short window of like maybe 1 or 2 more years of trying to figure it out.
Danny, one team that's kind of flummoxed my partner and I'm kind of on board now is the Clippers. What do you think about the Clippers and their chance to win a chip this year?
They're very good. They have a really good chance. I just don't know how well they'll match up with Denver and stopping Jokic and Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray, but I think that'll be a good matchup. It'll be a hell of a series, and they have a really good chance. They have all the pieces. They figured it out. I don't think anybody saw that coming or could have predicted that. But, Ty Lue has guys playing really good basketball together and figuring out, guys taking less of a roles to make the team better. James Harden, Russell Westbrook, those guys have really put themselves in the backseat or passenger seat and let, Paul George and Kawhi kind of take lead, but also play their roles and play it efficiently to where everybody can thrive.
Danny Green with us. Danny, I have a quick sort of two-parter with regard to Klay Thompson. Here's the first one. And I don't want to make our audience suddenly not like you, but I want to remind everybody that it was your defense in the finals that where Klay tore his ACL. What are your memories of that?
I remember playing in the finals, man. There is no, letting somebody just go. Obviously, I did no intent to hurt him. He knew that. And since then, we both had injuries, and we both have checked in on each other and made sure. And right now, I root for Klay. I'm glad that he's come back. He's done some remarkable things since the injuries, and I still think he's a great player. And I still think he can get back to that. I think mentally right now, he's still trying to find his rhythm and find himself. But and everybody in the world, that even if you're not a Golden State fan, you're a fan of certain guys and certain players. And I hate to see them win, but I root for certain guys' individual success. And not that I've ever played with him; he's a close friend of mine or anything like that. But I've always competed against him. You always want to see greats like that go out on a good note. And right now, it's like you're hoping to see him get back to where he was. I want to see him, continue to succeed and do well.
Okay, so let's talk about that. You're 36 years old. We're talking about your future. Same thing with Klay. He's a little younger, but his body's been through a lot. And there's been a lot of talk in this town about, growing old gracefully. He still wants to be out there, thought of as a top player. What's he going through in at this point in his career mentally?
It's crazy that people say we're old. We're really not that old. I mean, we're older, but being in your mid-30s is not old. I said it's more of a mental thing, more than anything for him as a shooter, the life of a shooter, and adjusting to certain, situations. For me, it's just finding and getting an opportunity and proving that we can still do it at the level that we did before, or at least close to it. I thought I had proven that my leg was healthy, and I had a good training camp. And even last year when I got my opportunity to play with certain groups, I thought so. But, the league is getting younger. You have to continue to fight for your spot regardless of who you are. You got to continue to fight for your minutes. You got to continue to fight and prove what you can do year in, year out because, ultimately they want to find somebody with a younger guy that's cheaper, that has higher potential they can groom. They no longer, care to wait on or, so what have you done for me lately type of business and league. And if you haven't done anything special for them lately, they kind of forget. And it's crazy that, this guy won 4 rings for you guys. And they're so quick to like, oh, let's trade him. Let's do this. And I'm sure that he's getting a lot of slag. He's getting a lot of hell on social media, which was just nuts. But, it's the guy that has earned the right to have a rough year once in a while. He had a great decade of playing career, even longer than that. To have it happens. You have bad years in basketball sometimes. You have bad shooting years. And last year he played amazing. He shot well, or the year before even. He had a great last 2 years or so right after the injury. So bad basketball happens, tough years happens, and I just don't think you can close the door on somebody like that.
Danny, I didn't mean to call you old. I mean, you know,
man, younger than both of us by a lot.
Well, and you're no LeBron, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not that far behind, but even Bron, like people say, he's 40 years old. He's just old in terms of basketball years. He's older, but he's still, it's all a mindset too. If you continue to mentally stay young and keep running, around with the kids and stuff like that. You see Bron still doing some great things at 30, 39 years old.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Keep telling yourself that, Danny, because I'm north of 50, and let me just tell you, you hit 38, and it's all downhill from there, kid.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Because some people age differently, man. Some people age differently.
That's true.
I got you.
Players still able to run around. If you're still able to run and move and slide, I think your body is more mental than anything. Now, once you start seeing your legs go and your knees go, and you're not able to move as quickly or slide or get up and down and chase guys, then you have to think about hanging it up. For me, it's like I'm still able to run a little bit. I'm still able to get up and down, get corner to corner space, shoot shots at a pretty good clip. So I don't think I'm ready to hang them up yet. I think I have a couple good years to give some good, competitive nature out there.
Yeah, Danny, good luck, man. It's fun to have you. Thank you for coming on.
It. No, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
All right, absolutely. We'll do it again. That was Odyssey NBA insider Danny Green. Insider calls are brought to you by the all-new Hyundai 2024 Santa Fe, equipped for adventure.